Korea's #1 foreign language station. Coming to you from the heart of Seoul. 101.3 TBS EFM.
Welcome back to the Classical Collection. I'm Philipp Richardsen, and you're listening to us here on TBS EFM 101.3 FM in Seoul, GFN 98.7 in Gwangju, and 93.7 in Yeosu. Coming up, we have our Classical Theme Corner, joined by a very special guest, violinist Vladimir Dyo. But first, let's hear a word from our sponsors.
Getting ready to fly back home? Before you do, shop smarter with these 3 steps. First, download the Lotte duty-free app. Then buy your products at the best price. Lastly, just pick them up at the airport. Visit eng.lottedfs.com or search Lotte Duty Free in the App Store. Lotte Duty Free.
Want to buy hottest items just seen on Korean TV show? Download Gmarket Global application and experience smart and easy international shopping right now. Your smart international shopping buddy, Gmarket Global. You shop, we ship all over the world. Just search Gmarket Global at your app store.
Welcome to our Classical Theme Corner, where we discuss our favorite classical pieces and talk about classical motifs or themes. Joining us today is our special guest from Kazakhstan, violinist Vladimir Dyo. Mr. Dyo is an internationally renowned violinist who is currently participating at a summer music festival in Korea as an invited guest artist, and we are very fortunate to have him at our studio this morning. He had his first public concert with the Kazakh State Symphony Orchestra at the age of 12 and performed in major concert halls around the world, such as the Rachmaninoff Hall, the Tchaikovsky Hall, Queen Elizabeth Hall, Carnegie Hall, Walt Disney Concert Hall, and the Seoul Arts Center just yesterday. So welcome, Vladimir Dyo. Thank you very much. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Philip. It's nice to be here.
And, well, I asked you that before, just when we met. Your last name, Dyo, could very well be Korean, and
it actually is Korean.
Yes, so you are ethnically speaking a Korean. When did your ancestors emigrate to Kazakhstan?
My mother's side, I think the Koreans during the end of 19th century and beginning of the 20th century, because of the poverty and famine, many Koreans were moving toward Russian side. So my great-grandparents from mother's side, they moved to Russia, and in 1937 there was a deportation by Stalin, where he took all Koreans and sent them to Central Asia. So he was suspecting them as Japanese spies. And my grandparents, they were on those trains.
They were one of the ones deported. So that means your family has been living in Kazakhstan since the 1930s or 1940s, basically.
In Central Asia, in Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan. Yes, my parents moved to Kazakhstan later.
Okay, and you were born in Kazakhstan.
I was born in Kazakhstan.
Grew up there. Your first language is Russian?
Russian, yes.
And the spelling of your last name is not J-O as it would be in Korean, or C-H-O. It's D-Y-O, as I saw. So that's sort of the Russianized version.
So it's... in Russia, in Russian language, we don't have exact letters to pronounce this name. That's why it was transcribed into Dyo in Russian. And when I got my passport, it just Dyo they transcribed from Russian.
I see. And you had a lot of activities, professional activities going on in Korea, and they're still going on. So you have performed at the Seoul Arts Center just last night?
Just last night,
And you taught several master classes throughout Korea?
I was teaching 2 weeks ago, 1 week music camp in Ilsan, and then last week I was teaching at the Seoul International Music Camp Festival and performing there.
And you still have activities going on?
Yes, and yesterday I had a concert at the Seoul Art Center, and on Monday I have master classes in Gwangju. So it's quite busy.
It's quite a packed schedule, and I'm sure it's not going to be your last visit to Korea. You will be back for more concerts in the future.
Yeah, and then, by the way, on Saturday, I'm going to play with Ilsan Youth Orchestra in Ilsan.
This coming Saturday?
This coming Saturday,
Yes. And, what can I say? We should introduce a little bit of music, I think. And your topic for today is the topic of meditation. So we agreed that you would present two different meditations for us. And the first one is the famous one, or the most famous one, the one by Jules Massenet, the meditation from Thais.
Thais, yeah.
I'm sure most of our listeners know that piece, at least when they hear it. But why did you choose it? Or is there any special background or special meaning for you?
It's such a popular piece, and but the story is really fascinating behind it. Thais, she was a courtesan woman,
yes,
and there was a monk who tried to convert her from her sinful life into a godly life.
Yes,
and eventually he succeeds. And this meditation is the moment where she contemplates about her life, and it's kind of considering to abandon her sinful life and move to a new life, godly life. And the most interesting thing that this monk, he has very noble thoughts to save a sinner, but eventually he falls in love in her, yes. And after some time, he rushes to find her, and he finds her at her deathbed. She's dying, and he confessed that he loves her, and this is love. And
it sounds like romantic music.
Romantic music, yes. And then she's passing away, and then her angel's taking her to heaven.
Oh.
It's a beautiful story, yes.
Yes. So Thais, I didn't know that Thais was actually the name of the main character.
Yes, that's why in the tempo marking it says andante religioso.
Ah, religious andante.
Yeah, so the beginning and the ending, you can hear it's quite heavenly, but inside you can hear a passion.
Yes.
So it's probably a combination of
the two.
Of the future, of her new life, and probably of her past life.
Yes.
Or maybe passion of the monk.
Or both.
Oh, both.
Well, after that thoughtful description, I think we really need to listen to the piece. So today is a special day because our guest, Vladimir Dyo, he is performing live here in the studio. We did a special setup for him with all the microphones. So this is a premiere. Usually we have guests bringing their CDs or promoting music performed by others. But today we've got a live performance. So let's enjoy together Vladimir Dyo, our guest from Kazakhstan, playing Jules Massenet, Méditation from Thais. that was a live performance in our studio. Vladimir Dyo was performing Jules Massenet, Méditation from Thais. Thank you very much for that live performance. Really beautiful listening to you.
Pleasure. Thank you.
And, well, we talked about it before. Meditation is our topic today. This was a very famous meditation, and you described it in beautiful words before, how a sinful courtesan was converted to Christianity by a monk who would then fall in love with her. A very romantic story. The second meditation you will present is by a different composer, by Tchaikovsky.
By Tchaikovsky, yes.
It's maybe not quite as famous as this first one, but still, I think it's quite popular and well known.
It's mostly popular in Russia, and probably if you prepare for Tchaikovsky competition,
you have to.
You probably will. This will be one of the pieces you will perform.
Is there also a background story to it?
Actually, it would be much more well known because originally Tchaikovsky composed it as a second movement to his violin concerto.
So, originally violin concerto. Is there a program to it, such as, like, for instance, a romantic story, a love story, or is it music without a definite program?
No, Tchaikovsky's music is more universal. It's not. There is not much program. He gives the listener freedom to feel, freedom to imagine.
Just a personal question: when you perform, or when you have performed in the past, which of the two did you prefer to include in your programs, or which one did you prefer more, perform more frequently?
Normally, Massenet I keep as an encore.
Yes.
Because it's short and really sweet and goes in any program.
Yes.
And Tchaikovsky, it's much longer piece, and it's very personal to me. It's very personal, yeah.
So in that case, I would say in advance, thank you for sharing your personal meditation with us now. We're going to listen to Tchaikovsky's meditation. Opus number?
42.
42, thank you. And the performer again in our live performance today is our special guest, Vladimir Dyo. You were listening to Pyotr Ilyich Tchaikovsky's Meditation, Opus 42, performed right here in our studio by our special guest, Vladimir Dyo. That was a very intimate and personal performance. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Now, just before wrapping up our broadcast today, because time is always flying here, would you be willing to give a little encore piece for our listeners?
Oh, sure, definitely.
And what would that be?
It's a Wieniavski's Mazurka, Obertas. Henryk Wieniavski. Yeah.
Very nice. Well, in that case, I will just say thank you so much for joining us, for performing live here. Good luck on all your endeavors in Korea and back home, and hope
thank you so
to
much.
see you again in Korea very soon.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
As for our listeners, that was the classical collection for this weekend. I hope everybody has a great week. Enjoy it. Temperatures might drop a little bit, and I'll see everyone back on TBS EFM next Saturday at 7 a.m. in the morning. Now let's say goodbye to everyone for this weekend with our special guest, Vladimir Dyo, performing Henryk Wieniawski's Mazurka.
TBS EFM. Soul Smarts, your one-stop guide to living in Seoul from TBS EFM.
On this Soul Smarts, maternity leave. If you're an expectant mother employed at a Korean company, you're eligible for paid maternity leave, and this applies to foreigners too. You can apply in person at your regional employment and labor office via mail or online, and you'll need to have your maternity leave application form, a maternity leave consent form from your company, and a document detailing your pay. When applying online, your employer must register their consent form before you fill in the rest of your details. Make sure you register for benefits during your maternity leave or within 12 months after you return to work. You won't be able to apply after those 12 months, so don't forget.
Soul Smarts. Get the latest living tips on TBS EFM 101.3. Listen to the music. Listen to the talk. Listen to your heart. Tune in to TBS EFM 101.3.
The following message is in support of the revitalization of radio broadcasting.
라디오 라디오 들어봐요. 이 따뜻한 마음을 들어봐요. 적적할 땐 내 곁에 있어주고 울적할 땐 내 맘을 위로하죠. 썰렁한 분위기 띄워주고 잠 안 올 땐 나와 함께 밤새우죠. 라디오 라디오 들어봐요. 이 따뜻한 마음과 함께해요. 라디오 라디오와 함께해.
This message was brought to you by the Radio Media Council.
Korea's #1 foreign language station from the heart of Seoul, keeping you informed on the latest beat of the city. 101.3 TBS EFM.